Um, Hi. This is Untitled Yuri podcast, and I have been taken by surprise. Uh, my name isn't like super important. You can just call me Nyandere, or Nyans, whatever you prefer. And this is my co-host and friend Roxy.
Hello.
Hi, Roxy. Um, Roxy and I are into the lesbians. Um,
Into.
uh, into them as far as reading about their relationships go.
Mm,
In other words, she and I like Yuri, if that wasn't
indeed.
abundantly clear. And so,
Indeed.
something I've come to notice about the podcast sphere is that there's not enough talk about Yuri. As if it wasn't already enough of a niche genre,
Mm-hmm.
I I felt the need to dive into an even more niche little space and analyze some of my favorite works. And who better to do it with than my dear friend Roxy, who has hardly read any of these works.
I've read a few. Don't give me this not be too short here. I've read a few over the years. I just haven't read as many as the connoisseur over here.
Your thing is like fan fiction though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'll read fan fiction for like days. Like you can give me a fan fiction of Yuri and stuff like that, and literally I read them for like bedtime stories. I'll read like 100K for like, to go to bed. Like it's a
Well, I
tradition.
mean, that's the same. I'm right in the same boat.
Yeah.
I read Yuri manga to go to sleep because it relaxes me.
Hmm.
I just like watching girls exchange meaningful glances at each other.
I like to read it a lot, but I'm really looking forward to getting more into the manga because, as I said, I have read it.
Hmm.
I haven't had like any pointers of like what the good ones are because there's so like many, like not many in like the sense that, there's a
Well,
whole
there
plethora, but there's
well
enough.
there is though. There for a niche genre, it has been. I feel like Yuri has undergone something of a renaissance.
Mm,
Uh, with Dynasty Reader, there is more Yuri out there now than, or at least accessible to Americans than there's ever been. And I do want to I do want to uh, keep in mind here that this podcast is going to primarily focus on Yuri manga and
hmm.
sometimes manhwa, the Korean version of the very same word. So
Yes, but mostly comics about the ladies loving ladies.
yes, yes. So today we have I've just had Roxy read a story called Kuchibiru ni Suketa Orange. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but it translates to sunset glazed orange or sunset orange glazed lips.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
in this, uh,
Short story, I guess, because it's only like
make
6 chapters.
yeah, this is actually um, yeah, it's a very short story. You can probably edit out my brain farts here. I'm trying to remember the names of the girls.
It's all good. If you
Where
if you can't, it's fine.
no,
Like
I'm remembering. No, I have to remember.
you have
Okay,
to.
so this story features two. Well, there's four girls. They're friends, but the main two is Kane, a girl from Tokyo who's moved out to the a little town on the sea,
Hmm.
and Chizuru, who is from minute one absolutely infatuated
Useless
with Kane.
gay. Useless gay.
She's completely useless.
Like she sees the girl and she's just like cannot
She's
compute.
from the very first panel that Chizuru is actually visible, she is just completely useless.
And
So
she's like blushing, and she's just like in her head, she's daydreaming about her. She's just like too gay to function.
so so in uh I should say this is very spoiler heavy. If you want to read this, I would suggest that you do so first before listening any further,
Oh
because
yeah, definitely. We're gonna
this is
spoil the
main
whole thing.
yeah, this is really mainly for people who want uh some opinions
Hmm.
about really good Yuri out there. So anyway, moving on. This in the story, we see Chizuru's slow descent into almost stalker behavior.
It's
Um,
it's kind of like high level. Like this girl is almost going in this girl's trash. It feels like.
it yeah, it's it is it's a very classic Yuri story. Um, and we see how she descends into this state of half lust, half
Mm. Half like obsession, where she just like,
I mean, and that's the
yeah.
thing though. So how did you like this, Roxy?
I really liked it. At first, I was like, oh, it's just like, a girl pining after another girl, like useless
Mm,
gay.
hmm.
But then she slowly descended into her stalkerish behavior. I
Right.
I won't lie, it got a chuckle out of me. It still does.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the thing is I really enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like I really enjoy seeing
the utter
seeing
devotion.
not just devotion, more along the lines of like what what like the depraved things that go on inside a person's mind
Mm.
whenever whenever their longing is so great that they're willing to subject themselves to something like that. I
Well, she
I
literally
love that.
bought a wig and decided, um, was it with the wig or was it with the lip gloss? I don't remember which one it was.
It was she got both.
No, but which one was it where she was having some
Oh,
fun
where
by
she
herself?
where she diddled herself
Yeah.
because she diddled herself.
Yeah.
That's see okay in this around the third or fourth chapter, uh, Chizuru has been at this point her infatuation with Kane is so much so that she started collecting items that Kane has.
Yeah.
And this seems pretty innocent at first, but
Yeah, like a lip gloss from the store. Like they bought the same lip
mhm.
gloss.
But as this continues, Chizuru starts to reveal in her in her inner monologues, like how deeply she wants to be like Kane. Kane is pretty. Kane is beautiful. She's confident. She's
She,
everything that she's everything that Chizuru is not.
she is bae.
And mhm. And there's a jealousy in that. There's also a longing.
Hmm.
And at a certain point, she she actually masturbates in uh in her own room
Hmm.
while wearing all of these things that make her look like Kane, and she's ashamed of herself.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because like
At first I
the
didn't know what was going on in that scene. I was like, "What? Wait,
yeah.
what?" Because it came
Well,
on so unexpectedly.
I get that. I I think there's a certain sort of sad beauty to it. Like,
Sad. She's doing it by herself because she's obsessed with this girl. Yeah, it's
well,
pretty sad.
everybody diddles themselves by themselves, mostly, mostly.
Mostly. Mostly.
But like man, it was just like right after, like I mean, the whole time she was just talking about how like dirty she was, and if Kane knew, she would be completely disgusted with her, and how
Hmm.
she's even completely disgusted with herself.
Was this right after she started questioning their friendship? Like if they were even friends? Or is this
No,
before?
no, I think this was after,
Okay.
or or maybe before, because the whole I don't think Chizuru felt very secure in their relationship at any point in time.
No, she kept zoning out and stuff like that, and she had like a monologue about how she felt like a fourth wheel or something like that.
Hmm. But we come to see right after these chapters that Kane is trying her best to be around Chizuru. She's
Mm.
trying to make efforts uh,
Hmm.
to get her one on one. And the thing is, whenever
Girl doesn't know.
there's
Girl does
part
not
of
know what she's doing.
yeah, precisely part of the doubt in Chizuru's mind is that Kane never seems like she wants to be around Chizuru. But the thing is that your girl has been feeling the exact same way about the useless little blob the whole time. And as a result,
Hmm.
she's been likely out of her mind too. And this is all an internal struggle. We never really see it from Kane's side. It's all from Chizuru's perspective.
Yeah, that's why at first I was like, oh my God, are they gonna be like in a love-hate thing kind of going on? Like,
Now, I would have loved that. I love me.
that's what I was like thinking of when she was questioning their friendship. I was like, is this where this is going?
Mm,
Because I was like, is she a bitch? You probably heard me say that when I was reading it. Uh, I was so protective of that little gay. I was like, you better not hurt my little stalker. Because she was like so obsessed with her. It was bad.
nah, something of a trope in manga. But that's neither here nor there. Uh,
And that is technical difficulties.
whoopsie. Da-da-da.
Uh, I'll just edit it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So anyway, after at a certain point,
Mhm.
um, uh, uh, things start to swell. I guess the wheels begin to turn. Wheels start being put in motion.
Mm.
Uh, a confession is nigh. Uh, we get to a point where, after some very awkward things, the scene in the shopping mall, which made which made Kane wonder if Chizuru was doing something to spite her or to make her upset.
Mhm.
There's some strange relationship between Japanese girls that I don't understand. I'm sure there's some like cultural things I'm missing, but Chizuru did something that might have seemed like a slight to Kane at some point, and
Mhm.
the two start to feel like you know maybe the other doesn't actually like each other, so their time spent together becomes less and less, and at some point they're forced to interact with one another.
Mhm.
And Chizuru, out of jealousy, invites Kane back to her house. Jealousy of her other friends. Her other friends, mind you, have gotten very close with Kane, and they're very attached to her, and they're always talking with her. And Chizuru is just the little girl behind them who's tagging along,
Yeah, she's the like fourth wheel.
very much so. So um, we get to the point where uh, they're in each other's house. Chizuru goes to get Kane water, tells Kane, go into my room and wait for me. Uh, I guess Chizuru isn't thinking, Or maybe she is. Maybe she's desperately. I I have no idea. It's hard. It's left up to interpretation, I think. But
Yeah, they don't really say or even
mm,
mention it. It's just they don't
mhm.
mention that like her stuff is all over her room for the
Yeah.
stalkerish behavior.
But Kane sees this. She sees the fact that Chizuru has all of these things, you know. So the fact that Kane, or the fact that Chizuru had, this mimicking behavior that she felt so slighted by at first,
Hmm.
now she understands, and Kane confronts Chizuru, and come to find out, yes, Kane does feel the same way. It's very pretty. They have a kiss, and they do far more. They do way more than just a
Far
kiss.
more.
But it's very sweet. It's very like, I mean, there's a lot of crying. There's a there's there's a line that I fucking love where she asks Chizuru how she feels, and just before she can answer,
Hmm.
Kane kisses her, and she's like, "No, I won't let you answer," and it just fucking rips my heart apart because like the whole thing, the whole like, oh my god, she's a girl, blah 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 blah, the whole trope. Kane was going through that too. Like she was longing after Chizuru as well. It's it's just
It's so weird when you like realize like all that when that scene happens. You're like, oh my god, they were the same.
it's you know in terms of like in terms of Yuri, is it a little overdone? Maybe. But I like to think that this story is a classic, and the
Hmm.
art the art is evident of that. It's
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
it's very classic Yuri art.
It's beautiful, but
Hmm.
it's old.
Yeah.
It's it is from another time.
Hmm.
Uh and
It kind of reminds me a little bit of that one called Girlfriends.
yeah, by Morinaga Miruku, I think her name is. Morinaga
Connoisseur.
Milk
The
as
connoisseur.
yeah. I love Girlfriends. I also loved her work.
It kind of reminds
Um
me of her, yeah.
she had another work.
Hmm.
Uh what was it called? Whatever. Who cares? We're not talking about Girlfriends.
Well, I was just, the art kind of reminds me of that era.
Yeah, I get it. Uh by the way, the work that I was thinking of, Hana
Hmm.
and Hina after school.
Oh,
We're gonna we're gonna be reading that one too. Anyway.
I glanced at that. I am very interested.
Oh, it's so cute. But stop derailing me. Okay, so why do you like this?
Why did I like it? Hmm. Well, for you, it was like a classic, like, I've seen these tropes before, blah blah blah. But for
Mm,
me, um, a lot of the Yuris I've read, like, it takes forever for them to like confess, and like the whole we're both girl things takes forever.
hmm
Like that's been something that I have seen in so many Yuris. So for
mm,
this one, seeing how fast they moved and how they completely ignored that was so refreshing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was kind of just like, oh, that was just nice and sweet. That was just to the point. I
absolutely.
I loved that aspect.
Um, there's something to be said for one shots and like very short series
Hmm.
that have like long detailed chapters, but there's only like three or four.
Yeah.
Um, you get a whole complete story, and it's just better. Like I feel that it just works more. I mean, I like a good I like a good long form series. But the
Yeah.
problem the problem with that is that at some point things start to feel a little stale if there's no character development, And a lot of times, like in Yuri or uh, A Room for Two, like these things start to feel a little bit samey.
Stretched out, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. But
Yeah.
with I think one of the strengths of this series is that it is not just short, but it wraps everything up so succinctly as well.
Yeah, it goes in, it goes out, it knows its purpose. Like it knows what it wants.
So
And I also
for
enjoyed the little stalker girl.
yeah, I liked that phase of her. Um,
She definitely was one of my little enjoyments. I laughed a little bit too much at her. She was
well,
just she was just too cute, okay?
it's kind of funny, you know, her plight is absurd, but it's relatable to some extent. Like
Mm,
I'm not sure that anybody would go to the extent that she did, but I'm sure we all know somebody who might have. Um,
mm.
mhm. So, any downsides that you thought of? Any negatives?
I don't think there was really too many. Like as I said, it
Hmm.
got in there, it told what it wanted it and it did what it wanted to say. Like it was pretty short, sweet, and to the point.
Hmm.
There's not
Yeah,
much negative about it. Like if you want to nitpick, you can always nitpick and be like, "Oh, it was too short. Like her
oh,
feelings are
sure,
rushed and all that stuff, you know." But
sure,
like for a short 6 chapter story, I felt like it was fine.
sure. Yeah, I actually don't have much of a problem with this series at all. It is one of the few series that I've read that I can't really think of anything off the top of my head other than what I've already stated about
Mm-hmm.
some of the tropes being overdone. But that's spoken
Mm-hmm.
from a person in 2020, and this was written like in 2009.
Oh,
So
so that it
yeah,
was 2009. Okay. I was trying to find
some
I was trying to find when it was written and I couldn't find it.
yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
It was posted on Dynasty around 2011 or so, but I think
Mm.
it released in 2009.
Mm.
But uh,
Two,
uh, excuse me.
2009. Hmm.
Yes, I was 19 and I didn't even have Yuri on my radar. So strange as that sounds.
2009, I was. How old was I in 2009? I was 10. I was
All right.
10.
Well, I have dated myself.
I think we both just dated ourselves.
Oh no, I did it way more apparently.
It is what it is.
So, would you say that your favorite bit is the when she descends into the lake, nearly like uh just like one step away from kleptomania stalker behavior?
Yeah, I have to say that really stuck out to me. That and like at the beginning where she was just a useless gay and could
Yeah,
barely even talk to the girl.
yeah, that was really funny. Um,
I liked both of those parts. Like her character in general was a big part of the story that I really liked, which was good because she carried it. She was the main character, so it was good that I liked her.
yeah, I think my favorite thing overall is the fact that it all takes place from Chizuru's perspective.
Mm.
I think a lot of manga have a tendency to want to explain the other side, which I'm fine with. Um, I think it works in a lot of settings, but
Mhm.
I think for this it really makes the confession really powerful because we never know how Chizuru really feels until the end. She feel we see her through Chizuru's eyes. We see Kane through eyes that pretty much worship her.
Mhm.
So like our what we see of her is tinted by that.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily get to see the real Kane until that very moment whenever she confesses her own love for Chizuru.
Yeah, right at the end.
And I think that's just a fantastic way to do it. It just
Mhm.
man, I mean talk about character development.
Yeah. I really enjoyed how the lead up was done. It was
Mm,
pretty good, I have to say. Like
mm,
how you had your like first phase of mindless, I just love you, all that stuff. And then she started
mm.
questioning it, and then you got the confession. Like it was just it was set up very well,
It was.
I feel.
So so for what it's worth, um in my notes
Hmm.
when it comes to this show, I put I love this. God, I love this. Fuck. So
There's that.
for everything I asked Roxy, those are my answers. This is absolutely one of my favorite stories. I would recommend it to anybody.
Hmm.
Um, so since this story was written in an age past, and you don't typically read a whole lot of manga, do you notice a difference between like fan fiction that you've read and this sort of like very dramatic, very poignant Yuri manga?
Oh, definitely. Like the fanfiction I read nowadays, like it's written by primarily like American, writers or
Hmm.
Australian English speaking people in general.
Right,
So, it's generally a lot more open, you
right,
know, about these kinds of
yeah,
things. Like the idea of, two girls liking each other or having a crush on each other or even like engaging in this type of behavior. Like stalking behavior is kind of creepy and looked upon,
sure, sure,
with an eye, but it's still talked about, I think, a lot more openly
right,
in like, Western culture and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure.
So, a lot of these stories that I read, like the lead up for um the romance is a lot different in the sense that it reflects a lot more
Uh,
heteronormative relationships,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, I agree. A large part of that is due to the culture of Japan itself,
Hmm. Japan
where
still doesn't even have gay marriage legalized.
no, and those sorts of things are very much kept in the dark. Um,
Hmm.
it's it's sort of accepted that in all girls' schools, girls will often start dating, and it's fine for something for little girls to do, but it's expected of them to stop eventually. And you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's this, and that's just like in all girls' schools, and there's this expectation uh, that so yeah, this is the lead up to something that I often think people often ask, like, is this sort of secretiveness about Yuri okay? And I think so. Um,
Hmm.
secrecy, not secretiveness. Man, what the hell? I'm a writer.
Yeah, it's all
Um,
good. But the
anyway,
secrecy isn't really found in Western
no,
Yuri or
I think
media like that.
yeah, yeah, I think there's something to the secrecy. I think it lends itself to this kind of fragile beauty, and I hate to sound pretentious,
Hmm.
but that's just how I see it. It 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 almost feels like something precious
Hmm.
that these girls are grasping at, you know? Like
Mm.
it's this it's this secret that they can tell nobody. And once they both understand that they're in on the secret, it's something that they share and nobody else gets to see that world but
Yeah,
them. And I think that's really beautiful. I
yeah,
understand I understand that, you know, the sort of repressive culture that leads to that kind of mentality is harmful.
hmm. Like
But
they even have like a scene where I think at the end where they share a quick kiss before they go to their friends. Like they don't even tell their
mm-hmm,
friends that have been in the story
mm-hmm.
until it related back to the story that we
It's
are talking
it's
about.
it's it's just a world for them, and I think that's really sweet. And
Hmm.
you know, like I said, obviously the repressive culture that brought about that mentality is bad, dangerous, harmful. But you know, tigers are harmful too, and they're just as beautiful as they've ever been.
Mm. True, tigers are my favorite.
So hey, you can't you can't be too mad at the culture.
Well,
Uh,
it's also fictional, and I think there's
yes,
different rules that you should apply with a fictional work. Like, if it's not seeking to harm anybody or it's not advocating to harm anyone, I don't think it's
yeah,
bad.
it's just a story between girls, man.
Yeah, it's just a story between two girls, you know,
Hmm.
apparently banging it out in the stalker's room.
She she ain't a stalker, man.
She
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 just
leveled up.
she didn't know how to she didn't know how to handle her emotions
She
for
leveled
Kane.
up. She leveled up from stalker to girlfriend. It's true though. You know it. You know it's true.
Okay. Well, I meant to
Hmm.
I actually meant to split the last two questions, but I accidentally combined them
Okay.
because because this is our very first podcast,
Hmm.
and this is the only podcast that I've ever done, and I'm not super experienced at this.
Hmm.
Hello, my name is Neandre. Um, in the future, our podcast will be much better.
Oh,
We swear.
definitely. Learn more, do it more,
Yeah,
you get better.
oh, for certain. And I'm just excited to talk about Yuri to such an extent that my throat goes dry and I have to drink water a bunch.
Yeah, that's why I
Um,
have water too. I had to bring some. I had to like make sure I had some on hand.
it's been lots of fun to do this, and I'm super looking forward to doing more episodes.
Oh, definitely.
Um, I I deactivated my Twitter long ago for reasons that I'm sure all of you understand. However, I will soon be reactivating it, and in the next episode, if you want to if you want to at me some opinions about Yuri, feel free to do so, and I'll make sure to drop my Twitter handle there so that you can do that.
I will be putting my Twitter handle somewhere as well, because I have
Yes.
one.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Untitled Yuri podcast. I'm Yandere, and that was Roxy. Thanks. We'll be seeing you.
Bye bye.
Bye.